What is up, everyone? I've got a couple of items here for my Honda CBR500R. As you can see, you got RNG engine covers and RNG crash protectors, or more popularly known as sliders. The sliders are for 2016 onwards. Okay, so you better know what year your bike is. So Honda changed the CBR during the 2016 year. Okay, so just check, make sure that you know what you have, so that you get the right item. As for the engine case cover, if you take a look at that, it says here CBR, yeah, CB500F, 13 onwards. So I was initially skeptical about this at first, because initially RNG had 2016 catalog in their website, but when I took a look at the CBR earlier and tried to look at the fitment of the covers, looks fine. So I'll probably find out more during the actual installation. But before anything else, let's do an unboxing just to see what you're gonna get. Let's start with the engine case cover. So the engine case covers, they come in two sides. You can purchase either one of the sides or the, both of them. Okay, so obviously I purchased both of them. You got the left and the right side, okay, and you also get instructions, okay, for each side, instructions and the bolts as well as spacers. So let's take a look at, well, you'll see more of this later, but let's take a look at what this is. So it's made of I guess hard plastic. It has the RNG logo here. For those of you who are into that, yeah, know you're using RNG. And you'll see the plastic molding. And you'll also see that there's only 3 bolts, okay, that are being used to attach the engine cover to the engine case, okay, which is good. Okay, because you don't necessarily want to remove all of those bolts, okay, in the actual engine. So you got to be aware of that, okay. Now the other one, okay, this is the right side, or I guess right side if you are facing the bike from the right side, if that makes sense. But you're gonna see that it has holes, okay, for the oil cover, okay. So you can take out the oil cover and still fill up your engine with oil, okay, which is good. And also there's a hole here for the oil level window, so that's pretty nice, okay. At least we get to still use the oil cap access as well as the oil level window for checking the oil level, so that's cool. Okay, that is it for the engine covers. Let's take a look at the sliders. Okay, so the sliders, you got some instruction. Okay, that's a lot of instructions. I'm hoping it's not as complicated as all of that. Okay, you got the actual sliders themselves. Oh, okay. Okay, got the pucks. You got some long bolts. Okay, and you got the some metal spacers or guide rods, I guess. Okay, we'll figure it out later. Okay, we also got these spacers, plastic spacers, and that is it. Okay, I'm going to review the instructions, take a look at how to install them, and we'll go together and install them in the bike. So amongst the two items, the crash protectors or the sliders are actually the harder of the two to install. I took a look at the instructions, and it spans, well, the English ones, around 9 pages. Okay, there are a lot of pictures in how to install it. Majority of the work is taking the fairings off. Okay, so thankfully I do have experience taking the fairings off, and I have shared that experience in another video. I'll try to cover that as well in this video, just to be complete. The other thing that I also noticed is that if you are installing the sliders together with the engine covers, you probably want to order them in a specific way. I would recommend to install the sliders first, okay, given that you also need to remove some of the engine bolts. And then given that you're supposed to remove the fairings, it's probably gonna make it easier for you to install the engine covers together with the sliders. So first things first, this is what it looks like, okay, on the left side, and this is what it looks like on the right side. My recommendation, as well as on the instructions, is to just make sure that you have all of the parts complete, okay, just to before you actually start. It's going to suck if while in the middle of the installation you're missing a washer, or you're missing a bolt or a part of some sort. So this is the harder of the two, but hopefully we survive through it. I have the CBR on a product stand. What we're gonna do is we're gonna install the RNG crash protectors or frame sliders, and also the engine case covers. First thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take out the fairings. I'll do the right side first, and before you do that, we'll start with the sliders first. Try to segregate the parts for the left versus the right side of the sliders. And I'm going to take out the fairings first. So I already did a fairing removal video, but a lot of folks were complaining because of the audio as well as the dark basement that I'm in. So I'm using a different camera. It's going to be a little bit difficult because I can't work with both hands. But I'll try my best. Okay, let's get to it. First thing in removing the fairing is that there's a bolt here. Basically looks something like this. It's pretty small, and it pops out if you push. Looks something like this when it's engaged. So you basically push the end so that it pops out. It's a pain to get out, and I actually lost one of them already. Not sure where it is. Yeah, it's located here at the back. And I apologize, guys, for the noise because I'm filming in the basement and there's a lot of cars and bells ringing. Then you remove these bolts. So remove this one, and then remove this one. There is one last one here underneath, and you need to remove that one as well. Make sure you organize them so you place them in the same place where they are. So after you remove the plastic screw and remove the 4 bolts,
Now comes the hard part of actually removing the fairing. First step is to push this little tab here. Okay, there's a tab there. Then there's also another tab here. It's pretty hard doing it with one hand, so unfortunately, unlike the other video, I won't be able to do it. But yeah. So hopefully you saw that. There is another tab over here. So I'm going to do it now and remove that one. Okay. That's a little loose already. After that, you basically massage this part over here. Massage it slowly. And the last part that should come out is this part over here. So be careful when taking it out because the signal light has a wire connected, so you'll need to take that out too. So just be careful not to pull too hard. Was a pain. Next we're going to remove the lower fairing. You need to remove this bolt here. There's another bolt here in the middle underneath this bolt and this other bolt here at the rear. Okay, short update. Oh my god, that plastic screw. You know, these things, these are such a bitch. There's actually one here, and it's preventing me from removing this whole lower fairing. And after like 20 minutes trying to get it out, I've decided not to proceed and just loosen this lower fairing. You don't necessarily need to remove it, as long as you can access these two bolts here, as well as these two later for the install. So I'll leave it at that. Just loosen this one, loosen that one. Just gonna leave this here. And basically what's gonna happen is this metal plate here, you're gonna need to remove these two bolts as well as this one. And then you'll put this metal plate here, okay? And this is where the fairing will sit. There are spacers that are going to put here at the back and here. They will at least provide some support. And you'll need to replace these two screws with longer screws that come with the package. So I'll do that now. So I've loosened the engine bolt nut. Make sure to be careful. There is a washer. There's a washer here at the end. And as you remove that engine bolt, the washer is going to fall. Make sure to catch it because you will need to use that again when we attach the frame sliders. So I just also removed the two bolts here. Take note. Make sure that you see this is the stock bolt, and this is the one that comes with RNG. So it's a little bit longer. You're gonna use this one, the longer one, not this one. This is the stock one, this is the longer one. So as you can see, I removed the front engine bolt, and also, like I mentioned, there's a spacer here at the back, okay? There's a spacer. So make sure you see the front engine bolt and the spacer at the back. Looks something like that. I'm sorry that the camera won't focus. So what you're gonna do is you're not gonna use this one anymore. You'll use this one, okay? The one with the hex. And put the spacer there, okay? See, this is the slider. Put it here. Hopefully you see that. And you put this here, okay? Like that. You put this spacer like this, okay? Ah, stupid noise. Okay. Then you put this over here. Okay. But I forgot something. I forgot the spacer. Okay. So the spacer here is at the back. Okay. So let me show you. The spacer goes here at the back. Okay. Like that. And then put the bolt in like that. And tighten it first. Okay. And then after you hand tighten, you get these two screws and put them in here. And tighten these as well. Okay. This bolt is 40 Newton meters, while this is 15 Newton meters. Okay, that is 40 Newton meters. These two are 15 Newton meters. Okay, it should look finally something like this. You got the mounting plate here. Got the front engine bolt there, and these two bolts here. Okay, I removed this screw, this bolt, and this bolt over here, and finally this bolt over here. It should line up to the holes of the engine cover. So I'm gonna place it over right now, like that. And then I'm gonna reattach it with the bolts supplied by RNG. Okay, so one important thing before you actually attach the engine cover is to make sure that you have all of the parts. So it's not just about putting the screw and the washer. Sorry to do this with one hand. So like this. But you also need to be aware of these spacers. So there's this black one here, And then there's this other one, the one that looks like it has like a top hat. So what's going to happen is, if you take a look at the instructions, the one with the top hat, the one at the right, is at the outside, and the cylinder is in the inside. So make sure you do that before you actually attach the screws. So how would it look like is, you got this one, this is in the inside, then you got this one, the one that looks like a top hat, here at the outside. Okay? And that's where you attach the screw. Okay? And this is here at the inside. Okay? So after putting in the spacers, I attached the cover. Looks pretty good. Now all I need to do is to use the screw and the washer that the RNG provided. Remember, you can't use the stock ones, because the spacing is going to be different. So if you take a look at the stock one versus the RNG one, the stock one is much shorter because the RNG one has spaces. And again, sorry for the noise, guys. I'm working in the basement where there's a lot of cars. It really sucks. Okay. After that, you need to tighten to 10 Newton meters. Okay. Now that the bolts are all in, this one over here, and this one here at the bottom, we can now reattach this dangling lower fairing, and we can also attach the upper fairing, because right now the installation is done, at least for the engine cover, and as for the sliders, they actually come in after you attach the fairing. So let's go do that now. Okay, so here it is. I've reattached the fairing. I haven't put the bolts back in yet, but basically that's what it looks like. Just attach the fairing back, put the bolts back in, but now you can see you have the placeholder for the frame sliders, and we're gonna attach that later after we finish attaching the fairing. And again, sorry guys, so noisy here in the basement. We're now going to attach the slider. So how to assemble? So first you get the the bolt, put the washer, okay? Then you have this weird attachment, so you're going to put that as well, like so. And then you got the slider itself, put it in, and then a spacer, put the spacer here, okay? And then I'm gonna attach this over here, alright? And use a wrench, torque wrench. I think it's 40 Newton meters for the torque. You'll also notice that the spacer, come on camera, focus, that the spacer has this indent. This flat side should be positioned over here, okay, because it's pretty close to the fairing, so the flat side is there so it doesn't hit the fairing, okay? Okay, so after attaching this, now it's sturdy. This is 40 Newton meters of torque. Slider is attached. When attaching the slider, the bigger part of the I guess teardrop shape should be at the front side of the bike. That's why it's aerodynamic, okay? And then you have a cap here. Let me get it. Got an RNG cap, and you put this RNG cap here. All right. Whew. So we got one side done, let's do the other side. So this is what it looks like on one side. And this is what it looks like originally. So I'm gonna do this side now. Okay, other side of the fairing is now off. Next thing you need to do is to remove the front engine bolt and these two bolts right here. Why? Because you got this other metal plate that goes over here. Okay, right like that. Okay, all right. So I am going to show you that once it's attached, it'll be much clearer. It'll attach to this point, and this point. So as with the other side, the engine bolt here, you need to loosen it and take it out. And you can see there's this silver thing, the spacer. So when you take this out, make sure that you also get the spacer. It's hard to do it with one hand, but see, there it is. The silver thing here is the spacer. Make sure that you put it in a safe place, because as like the other side, we're going to use that again. So as with this side, this is the mounting plate. Get the two screws. Get this bolt that you will attach to the engine bolt. Make sure that the washer is in place. And again, I'm sorry if my camera won't focus. Put that like that. And then the spacer, put it here. Okay. And this is where you attach this one. Now don't forget this other piece right here. You'll need to put this back in place. Okay, right over here. Okay, now I need both of my hands to attach it, so I'm gonna cut and then we'll transition to when it's done. Okay, this is what it looks like attached. So remember the spacer, this one, the silver one, the engine bolt, and the two front engine bolt and the two smaller bolts. The torque setting on this is 40 Newton meters. Do not exceed 40, while these ones are 15 Newton meters. So make sure that you tighten according to spec. So I'll do that now. Now that we got the bolts tightened for the mounting plate for the slider, now we're going to put the engine cover over. So just put the engine cover over just to take a look, see where the bolts that you need to remove are. So basically there are three. This one, and there's one at the bottom, which is hidden underneath the fairing, somewhere over there. So when you put this over here, you're gonna need to easily remove the lower fairing. Now there's a bitch bolt. There's a plastic bolt here at the base, which really sucks. I've been trying to remove it earlier, but fail. So just push this down. I'm sure you'll be able to do it. You also need to put this plastic protection cover, set it aside. Okay. You should be able to squeeze this in. So let me do that and show you. So, like the other side, we need to attach 3 bolts. And remember, the cylindrical piece and the piece that looks like a top hat. So for the piece that looks like a top hat, you put that at the outside, while the piece that looks like a cylinder, it goes in the inside. Okay? So look at the instructions. The top hat is at the outside. The cylindrical piece is at the inner side. Okay? And obviously the bolt itself with the washer is going to be outside. Okay? Okay. That was very tiring, but I finally attached the bolts. 1, 2, then there's a third one at the bottom. torque setting is 10 Newton meters. Okay. Next is we're gonna attach back the lower fairing. Then we're gonna attach back this fairing, and then we'll attach the last piece, which is this slider puck. All right. Okay. Now that the fairings are back on, and my God, guys, fairings are such a bitch to put back on. Time to attach the last piece, which is the slider puck. So you get the last piece, the bolt. Come on, camera, focus. Focus, come on, please focus. Okay, you get the bolt, then you get the washer, and then you get the washer with the teeth. Attach it like that, okay? And then you get the slider puck, and then you put it in. You then get the spacer, the plastic spacer, and like the other side, the spacer, it has, come on, oh my God, I'm sorry for my camera. It has the, oh my God, sorry. It has the flat side on the right. That's supposed to be the spacer for here in the fairing. Okay, because you can attach that there. So there's space for the edge of your fairing. So I'm gonna attach that now and show you later. Okay, finally it is done. You can see the sliders are installed and the engine cover. Whew. That was pretty tiring, but finally got protection for my bike. As you can see, the right side, then the left side. Okay. Got the engine cover there. I think that makes the bike look cool. Yeah. Pretty cool. The engine cover covers the brown engine color. But I think that aside from protecting the engine, it also makes the bike look a little bit bigger because of the extra space that it provides. So I'm liking it. The only thing that I don't like is this. So it's pretty tacky, putting your logo there. But thankfully, this is a sticker. So I will be able to remove this and get rid of the branding. Sorry, RNG. It's not a bad product, okay? It's just that I don't want these branding on my bike. Also, yeah, it looks much better. Also, another complaint is that the bolts that RNG are using, not very sturdy. The engine bolts that they're using, almost all of them lost thread, if you know what that means. So it could be that I over-tightened, but I don't think so because I'm using a torque wrench. Jesus, their branding doesn't want to go away. So that's my complaint, okay? So, yep, getting rid of that, and I'm not putting your branding here. I'll leave it as is. All right. Looks pretty cool. CBR500R with a blacked out engine. sliders. Oh yeah, looks awesome. All right, thanks guys for watching. Whew, I'm gonna rest now. That was super tiring. Thank you.